Hi everyone, this is the Fourth Knock Podcast where we talk everything macabre from mysteries to murder. My name is Tom, and joining me are my two co-hosts, Edith.
What up?
And Mark.
Hello.
Yeah, so let's get introductions out of the way. My name is Tom.
What's up? My name is Mark.
And I'm Edith.
Fantastic. So, this is a true crime podcast, sort of.
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah,
All things spooky, scary,
skeletons.
scandalous,
all that
skeletons.
stuff. Yeah,
Yep, all those things.
Yeah, we'll talk about...
Saucy.
Yeah, saucy stuff, creepy stuff.
Slippery.
Things that make your,
Spooky? You guys say that already?
Yeah.
We did say
Okay,
spooky.
okay.
We
yeah,
covered
that's true.
spooky.
Yeah.
Spooky times too?
Yep.
Spooky is important.
Spooky times.
So, the first topic we're going to cover is the Bhopal gas disaster.
Nerve gas.
Well, no, but nice try, though.
Oh. Sorry.
Thanks for trying, though.
Memes.
Yeah, there you
That
go.
was sweet.
All right.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead. Tom.
So, this all started, well, the gas massacre started in 1984. December 2nd was when the initial disaster began. And then December 3rd was when the actual disaster kind of kicked off in the early morning. So, before that, though, I like to cover some of the things that led up to the disaster. Exactly. So there are two companies that we need to keep in mind here. The UCC and the UCIL.
Who's that?
So, the UCIL, which is a subsidiary of UCC, which stands for the Union Carbide India Limited Company,
Okay.
manufactured mostly pesticides, some batteries, some chemicals, things of that nature. They're actually pretty big in India. They were, I believe, the 20...
Yeah, I bet they were.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, hey.
Manufacturing dangerous chemicals.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
In India, hell yeah.
I'm sure they were big.
Yeah, I'm sure they... Yeah, well,
In
they
a
were...
third world country. Yeah.
They were the
I'm sure they were big.
21st biggest company in India at the time.
Okay.
And I think they had 9,000 employees, something like that.
Jesus.
So, I mean, it was a pretty big company, and they were all producing industrial chemicals.
Horrible shit. All right,
Yeah,
cool.
pretty
Really
much.
big-
Anything
really
you
big
don't
show.
want
Big show.
anything you don't want to drink. So, yeah.
Non-drinkable substances.
non-drinkable.
Side
Drinkable.
note, don't drink this.
Yeah, exactly.
All
Yeah.
right, cool.
And then the UCC, which was their parent company, which is the Union Carbide and Carbon Company, or corporation, I guess. And they were based in the States, and they were a very big company. They were traded on the, I think they were Fortune 500, something like that. And they made, before this disaster, I think their peak revenue was like $326 million. This is
And that's
80s.
like back in the day
Yeah,
dollars.
this is 80s money,
Yeah.
so
Jesus.
you could buy a couple loaves of bread with that money.
A couple Countach's.
I don't know what that is,
I don't know what
but
that is either.
yeah.
That's a Lamborghini that was pretty popular in the 80s.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
All right,
Well,
fair.
I'm sure you could buy a couple of those with that, I guess.
Of what you said.
Sorry, I was
yeah,
just-
whatever you said.
Just trying to be,
Wait, but
I put myself in the 80s in America, you know?
Yeah, do a little bit of cocaine and
A little.
well,
I mean,
it's
come on, man.
true.
Did you, Anthony, in your research, did you see any of the advertisements for the company for their pesticides?
I did see some of those insanely bizarre,
Like putting a spear through the caterpillars.
yeah, or like the elephant holding the Phosgene
Yeah.
logo. It's like, what the fuck is going on?
Why?
Yeah, I don't. Or like there was a picture of like just this family, and it just said Phosgene at the top of it. Like, okay, what is
terrifying.
this? Are they eating that for breakfast, or what's going on
Phosgene.
there? I don't understand.
Start your day off
So,
right.
Yeah, it's very bizarre.
The name you trust and genetically altering chemicals.
Yeah, Phosgene.
Hindsight's
stories today.
always 2020.
Yeah, so it was very bizarre. The 80s were a wild time, I'll
Wait.
tell you.
Was it an American family?
I mean, it was. I believe it was.
Yeah, I think
but
it
could
was.
have. It could have been because it might have been like a holdout from like the 50s that they just pushed onto to India or something. But
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
it is very bizarre. Yeah, it's better.
Yeah.
Some of that better living through chemistry type
Oh, I gotcha.
type advertisement
Yeah.
stuff. So it was very bizarre.
Like, because Indians weren't the ones buying this shit, I'm assuming.
Well,
For the most part.
they were using a lot of the pesticide, a lot of the 7, which is a pesticide, and which is
Sevin, by the way, which
Yeah.
makes absolutely no sense.
it's very bizarre. It's actually, if you go to your home improvement store, you actually see some 7 chilling on the shelf there.
Like
so,
the big HD, do they have it?
yeah, I believe they do. Yeah, so it's
Creepy.
a little creepy. It's not. I mean, it's not the same formula back then, but it's very creepy.
So they tell us. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true also, yes. I mean, it should be, horrible, but whatever. So like the UCC, which is the parent company, and the UCIL, which is the subsidiary that was operating the factory during the 80s, during the chemical disaster. So, and before that, back in the 70s, in the early 70s, they made this company to produce phosgene, and I believe they produce chloroform and things of that nature. So just industrial
Ooh.
chemicals, yeah. So it's a little, very dangerous. The spot they put it in actually was not up to their development plan because the tanks that store the MIC, which is methyl isocyanate, which is a very, very dangerous chemical.
And a very big word.
Yeah, that's true. True. So from here on out,
Mike.
I will say MIC, by the way. So, they were actually built underground for safety reasons, obviously.
Quote unquote.
Quote unquote, exactly.
Safety
Yeah, because that
reasons.
kind of bit them in the ass there
Mhm.
at the end.
Dummies.
It was built too close to a residential area, of course.
Fucking, of course.
Yeah, and next to a railroad. So
Good.
the constant jostling, I'm sure, really helped the the horrifically dangerous chemical. So, yeah,
Plenty of jostling.
yeah,
Nothing like a good jostle to
absolutely.
settle the foundation that's
Yeah,
probably made from like old railroad ties.
yeah. So if you're
No offense, Bhopal, India, but
yeah, if you're a younger listener and you have some, if you go into your dad's workshop and you see some chemicals, just shake it around.
give
See
it a
what
shake.
happens. Give it a shake.
Yeah,
Give it a
you know.
good shake.
You
Give
know,
it a shake.
that's what I call, drop the Fortnite controller and, shake some of that acetone around. And
I
see
do
what
something
happens.
productive.
Yeah, absolutely. So who knows?
Make shit happen.
Yeah, make shit happen, But,
I had a few more like child abuse lines, but
Jesus Christ.
yeah, let's chill on the child abuse, okay?
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude?
that sounds good.
Let's keep it to only 3 jokes of child abuse
You met your quota already.
per
Damn.
podcast.
all right. Okay.
So this Bhopal, India, in the 70s, they still had reports up until 1978 of how poorly made this factory was. So they did not use stainless steel pipes, which they should have used. They actually used iron pipes. So all these pipes would eventually get corroded, and all the iron pipes would start to flake off and put contaminants in these humongous.
I have a stupid question.
Shoot.
So what I listened to and saw in documentaries and shit, they were like, oh, they didn't use stainless steel, they used regular steel.
Mm-hmm.
Is that iron?
No.
So
But I think you're right. I mean, I don't know, but
I think they used both iron and steel.
hold on, I'm gonna look up what steel is, because do we like what is
steel is iron.
Isn't it bronze
Plus-
and tin?
Iron plus
Steel's-
something else is steel.
okay? So you're not wrong, Anthony.
But then stainless steel is
Steel.
just, I don't know.
Oh, here we
be.
go. Here we go. Steel, alloy of iron and carbon. So
Sure. Okay. Yeah,
everyone's
yeah.
right.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, that makes sense. So we're both right.
But
We're both right.
wait, what is stainless steel?
Better steel. I don't know.
Pretty much.
Wait.
Stainless,
okay.
idiot.
Let's look up exactly what that is, because
Doesn't flake. I know that much.
Right. It's just not shitty steel. Stainless steel. How does that work? What is it? Okay. Corrosion resistant alloy of iron, chromium, and in some cases nickel and other metals. Okay.
There you go.
So
Okay.
more expensive than regular
fancy steel.
Yep. Yep. Too expensive.
Fancy steel.
Can't afford that shit.
I mean, we have all this perfectly good steel laying around.
I'd make it stainless.
I mean, it looks pretty clean to me.
That's true. It has no
So-
stains on it, so
Mhm.
What's the problem?
yeah, true.
Exactly.
I don't see the issue.
I don't
Yeah.
know. But guess who did see an issue with it?
Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah, exactly, people. Jesus.
We have sound bites on this
We do,
podcast.
unfortunately. Yeah.
Sad trombone.
Yep. Exactly.
That button's gonna get worn out. Sorry.
Yep. Sorry. No, you're good.
Go for it.
So this place was a mess. In the 80s, all the negligence and the cost cutting just really started to cut into to the factory's operation, and not to say that the workers were completely at fault, but I'd say it's probably 50-50, to be totally honest.
Well, along with like the cutting costs, they had to cut cost on training. So some of these people had literally been on the job for 2 weeks. I think that the supervisor had been working there for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
He
super
was
underqualified. Just
head dude in charge, like panicking, like I can only imagine. So yeah, along with the cutting the costs and shitty materials, there was like no training. So yeah, recipe for disaster. Like there was
Absolutely.
no fucking way this was gonna go well. At
there's
all.
only one way it could head, and that is to disaster for sure.
Yeah, well, like it's not even like a culmination of like all these things like that made the disaster. Like you can pick one of 20 things, and it's like this is gonna be a disaster. Like sometimes it's like the perfect storm, right?
Yeah,
Like bad training, like bad materials, but really you could just pick one of those. Like could be like a state-of-the-art like facility, but if your supervisor has no idea what he's doing, like it's going to be a disaster. So really, like there's no way that this could have been avoided. Like I don't know, you know what I mean?
Well, the problem is, I'm actually going to disagree with you, because there was actually, so the main problems with this factory were all the fail safes.
Yeah,
weren't implemented.
We're non-existent.
Yeah.
3 major ones, right?
Yeah, big ones, yeah. So we had the vent scrubbers, which would remove any of the moisture from the vents, because MIC was highly reactive to any kind of liquid, especially water.
Water, yeah.
Yeah. And then you had the flare towers. So I'm sure a lot of people have actually seen this. So where you have oil refineries and things of that nature, where you have these big almost smokestacks, and they have a fire ignited on top of there.
Yeah, it looks scary as fuck.
Yeah, it's scary. It looks like
But it's
hell
actually,
opened up.
yeah, it's like actually a good thing,
Yeah,
right?
it's supposed to burn off any kind of dangerous vapor.
Yep.
And it has like a caustic fluid, and then at the top there's flame shooting out, and that kind of eliminates any of the dangerous vapors that kind of escape into the atmosphere. So it's not going to completely destroy whatever vapor comes out, because depending on what it is, but it's going to reduce it by a significant margin.
So it's like a blow-off valve almost.
Pretty much. I mean, yeah, with a flame on top, so it kind of looks cooler.
Yeah, sick.
Yeah, so
Except cooler.
That's a lot cooler. Yeah.
Remember that scene in Jarhead? You guys ever seen that? Like when they're in Afghanistan? Well, I mean, like
Oh yeah, when the
just
oil fields
Afghanistan.
light up.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
in Afghanistan in real life, like they
Pretty much.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, same kind of thing.
So Afghanistan, because Afghanistan is real, by the way. I just want to.
What?
No, never mind. And then so that was out. So the vent scrubbers were out because they were rusted out, and they were never maintained. The flare tower was out because it was actually under maintenance to remove a corroded pipe, and they had never turned it back on. So it was on standby mode. Yeah.
Good. Why?
They just didn't. I mean, probably because the manager was working there for 2 weeks. And,
Because none of your goddamn business.
yeah, pretty much. I mean,
Okay, yep.
it's just insane.
Shoot.
Yeah, and then the third failsafe was a refrigeration unit, which would cool down the exothermic reaction that would happen if the MIC came into contact with contaminants and water. And of course, that was completely shut off. So
No can do. Gotta cut costs,
Yep.
energy costs.
So all these warning signs were totally missed. And the alarm system, which was... So there was an internal alarm to the factory and then an external alarm that would alarm...
To the people.
Yeah, the residential areas of Bhopal. The internal alarm was on, but the external alarm was completely off.
Good.
So just because they didn't want to scare everyone from the numerous leaks that they had before this horrible accident. So, yeah. So not good. Not good memes. So
Crying wolf.
I mean, yeah, pretty much.
Yikes.
Yeah. So we had these horrible lead-ups to this disaster. I believe actually in 1982, the UCC actually sent over an investigator because they had so many leaks in that year to look at the facility, and he recommended, a myriad of changes, and they never implemented them. So, I mean, they kind of knew what was coming, but they just kind of rolled the dice every day and expected it to come out on top. But 1984, on December 2nd, that you rolled snake eyes or whatever. You rolled the bad number.
-7.
-7, absolutely. A negative and then a 7. Damn. Yeah. So you hate seeing that on the roulette table, huh?
Big whammy.
Big whammy, absolutely.
Big whammies.
So, and actually before that, there's a journalist actually. His name was Rajkumar Kaswani, I mean. And he actually had a friend who worked in the factory in 1982. And he kind of reported on, his friend told him about all these kind of horrible leaks that they had of like phosgene and chloroform and all these other horrible chemicals. And they didn't do anything about it. And a couple months later, I think it was maybe in September in 1982 of that same year, Kaswani's friend actually died of a phosgene exposure, which is not a good way to die, for sure. I believe he was carrying, it was a jar of, or a big bucket of phosgene, which is probably not a super good idea, but I mean, this is not the best factory. And it spilled, and he panicked, and he removed his gas mask, and that was it.
And he went...
Exactly.
And then he took a
like gasp,
big
like, oh my God,
big old
look
gulp.
what I did.
Yeah.
Not that he really
breath.
needed to. I mean, you take a little bit of whiff of that and it's lights out.
It
So
just didn't help. But
Yeah.
it took him a little bit to...
he died, I think 72 hours later. He was dead. So
Fucking terrible.
Unfortunately,
yeah,
Yeah.
not
it was
good.
that long. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it was probably not a fantastic way to die. So
No.
yeah,
Oh,
so Kaswani was kind of on the warpath here now.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, and there were actually 4 leaks, I believe, in just 1982 alone. I think it exposed over 30 workers. Didn't kill anybody except his friend. But I mean, 30 exposures in 1 year is not good. So, so Kaswani actually wrote 3 news articles in the Bhopal Times, I think it was. And they had pretty interesting titles. So one of them was like Bhopal is at the precipice of a volcano and things of that nature. So he was not,
You're not wrong.
Yeah, he was not mincing words there. So
Nope.
Alarming.
yeah, I mean he was basically saying if you don't stop this, you're all going to die. So, but of course nobody listened. So
Nobody listened.
yeah, nobody listened. So not good. So in 1983, there were a couple of leaks, none too bad. So, I guess people just started to just not care. I mean, not that people really cared initially anyway, but,
Yeah, it's just like, oh, it's fine. It's just a little leak.
Yeah, I mean,
just the
who
people
cares?
working there are being affected, and maybe they're not dying, so maybe it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, Bhopal didn't even know about any of these leaks.
Yeah, they didn't know anyway. They didn't even know what they were making. They thought that it was like plant food or something. I forget what one of the articles said, but it was like they had no idea what was even going on there.
No idea. Nobody told them.
This is a Gatorade factory.
Yeah, I mean, it basically.
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah, it might as well have been.
Yeah.
What is that in that big tank? It's what plants crave. It's what plants crave. That's all you need to know. So. Okay.
Yep, exactly.
That's it, man. So it's like, these people didn't know. They weren't going to be alarmed to any accidents.
And I mean, like, maybe this has been an appropriate generalization, but these people have jobs, like, they need to work. They're not living in a first world country. Like, they need this job. It's probably a pretty good job, like, given the circumstances, like, probably, I mean, once again, just a generalization, but probably paid pretty well.
Respectively, for sure.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, like,
this is their life, basically.
Right, yeah. This is their life and their livelihood. Like, they're feeding their family with this job. So, like...
Yeah, they're not going to try to take down the plant because it's, like, unsafe.
Because they have, like, everything to lose if they don't have... Yeah, I mean... So, I don't know.
Yeah. It makes sense. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, it's bad, and it's horrible. But, I mean, a lot of the blame should go on UCC and UCIL. So, for just completely...
100% of the
screwing these people over. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, we'll get into that later.
Oh, shit.
Later. So, December 2nd... Well, actually, before that, they had minor leaks of...
Sorry.
Nice. Of the MIC tanks. So, there were 3 tanks. E610, E611, and then... I'm trying to remember what the other one was.
19 or something.
I think it was E619. Yeah.
Yeah, it like doesn't go in numerical order, which I found interesting.
Yeah.
It makes complete sense.
So these tanks are humongous. They hold like 18,000 gallons of this MIC. And MIC is mesoethyl. Okay, I fucked it up. MIC. Okay, let's just say it like that. Okay.
Yeah. You guys know.
You guys know by now, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
methyl
cool. Great.
isocyanate. There we go. So this chemical was pretty much just used. I mean, it wasn't just used in India, but it was starting to kind of sunset production in the United States because it was extremely dangerous and it was just a nightmare to handle. So, so you have these 3 humongous tanks built on the ground, and that are always under pressure. So they're always under nitrogen, which is an inert gas, which won't react with MIC, because MIC is actually very reactive, especially to water. So, and it also makes it so you can actually pump out the MIC from the tanks, because if you need to empty out a tank because of something's happening, you need to do it extremely quickly. So you have these tanks. So 610 was the problem tank. So I believe you had a pretty big leak in November, and this leak actually leaked almost all the nitrogen down. So it was only under 2 psi, which is not good. And this gas also had the purpose of keeping water out and keeping contaminants out, which are also extremely important for MIC because they're super reactive to both water and contaminants. When they saw that this tank could not hold pressure, they had to shut the whole plant down in November and try to do maintenance. And while they were doing that, they actually performed maintenance on the fire stack on the flare tower, the tower that burns up all the vapor.
The vapor, yep.
So So they didn't fix the fire stack. They didn't turn it back on. They replaced one of the corroded pipes for the fire stack. But, I mean, not turning it on is kind of the point. Yeah. And they also could not get the MIC tank back to pressure. So this thing was just pure MIC. Not only was it pure MIC, the standard operating procedure for those tanks is to only have them at 50% capacity for these tanks. But of course, they were at like 75% capacity. Yeah. Not good.
75%.
So they were just like, fuck it. We're gonna get our money's worth and we're gonna fill these bad boys up.
Well, they also had so much left over because production was down because people aren't even buying this shit anymore.
Yeah, they were just trying to just get it out of the door and just produce as much as possible and sell as much as possible. So fuck it. We'll just load these humongous 18,000 gallon tanks up with tons and tons, 42 tons of this horrible chemical.
Save the caterpillars. Save the caterpillar movement.
Pretty much.
Was 83, so it makes kind of lines up.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, listen, hey, these guys got to make money, so.
It's very important.
Yeah, so, I mean, these tanks were a nightmare ready to happen. So one night so they couldn't get them back to pressure. December rolls around, and they tried to repressure the tank again on December 1st. Just could not hold pressure. Wasn't doing anything. No nitrogen gas.
Oh, what could be going on?
Yeah,
I have no idea.
It's like, oh my God, why?
Yeah, what do these gauges say? They're fucking, I don't know, I can't read, but...
Well, that's a great question.
Yeah, I mean, these gauges are just fucking flipping around. I mean, it looks pretty cool, but I don't know.
That's literally what they thought.
Hey, Roger, I'm going to go fucking take my lunch.
It's actually tea time.
Whoa, actually, yeah.
Yeah,
We'll get to that. We'll get to that, I'm sure.
So,
I'll be back later.
So this tank was completely jacked. They couldn't get it under pressure. Is not good.
No,
okay, it's not good. So this tank had a leak, but they could not find it, and they weren't ready to find it. They weren't really trying to find it either. So December 2nd rolls around, and they need to clean the pipes out.
Okay. That sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah,
already.
of these MIC tanks. Okay, so the problem is the reason that you use stainless steel is because it's not going to flake off and contaminate whatever that pipe is leading to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like that's what they like make like kitchen equipment out of, like deli slicers, or I don't know, like knives, or like if you ever worked in a kitchen or something like that, like all of your like hardware is made from stainless steel, just to prevent that sort of thing.
Yeah, something that's not going to rust.
Yeah, like you would think of like titanium or something, but in this context, that would be the alloy to use. But to your point, that's not what was used.
Yeah, so I mean these pipes are corroded to shit. They're flaking off. They're putting iron flakes in this huge MIC tank. And not only that,
you ain't getting that out.
Yeah, I mean it's almost impossible. You're gonna have to empty out the entire tank,
right,
and do this all this maintenance, and they're not going to do that. I mean, they haven't even turned the fucking flare tower on. Okay, they're not gonna jump into a giant tank. So, this tank is recipe for disaster. Okay, so they need to clean the pipes though, or their managers tell them to. So, because the steam boiler, which is actually supposed to clean the pipes, is also non-functional, which is a real laugh and a half.
If you could have guessed.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
also not working.
Anything safety-wise is fucking broken right now, okay? So, it's not good. I mean, the doors to the bathrooms, I'm sure, are all busted out. There's no toilet paper. It's...
Zero soap.
Yeah, there's probably no creamer for the coffee. It's a nightmare in there. Okay?
That kind of reminds me of like just a little anecdote. A little small anecdote.
Let's hear it.
I'm not going to derail it, but just a quick thing.
So, we got time to go.
So the grocery store my new favorite grocery store. I just moved to like a different part of the city that I'm in.
What chain? Let me hear it.
It's like one of those Latin markets, like that has like the signs like drawn with Sharpie and like super bright like highlighter. You know what I mean?
Ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
The good ones. Gotcha.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. Like prices are great. People are friendly. They have a bathroom, which is very convenient for me because I go to the bathroom. You know, like
more than a human should.
Yeah. More.
All right.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, man. So, very excited. Like, there's a bathroom.
You got problems, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
But it's got problems.
I should
Digestional.
get it checked out. But, yeah, man. So,
Digestational problems.
that was actually how I found the place because I was walking down the street. I swear to God. I was like, man, I got to go, man. You know what I mean?
feel like that's how most discoveries are made.
Dude, hey,
Like Lewis and Clark stopped by because one of the guys had to take
I really had to go.
bro, I got to take a
man.
fat shit, bro. Let's stop.
No. It's
Stop at this place called Connecticut.
Is oh my God. All right. So usually it's number one, like that's where the problems are coming from. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Just gotta pee. I be peeing. I stay
Okay.
in the bathroom. You know what I mean? But anyway, yeah. So I'm like, man, I hope this place has a bathroom because I checked the gas station, right there too. And of course, it's out of order.
Yeah,
no
of course.
public bathrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Whatever.
Bunch of fucking
Thanks a
liars.
lot. So I go to this grocery store. I'm like, man, this is a long shot. It's a small grocery store, privately owned. But anyway, there's a bathroom, and I go in there, and some dude's using the urinal. Like, so I go in the stall,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a handwritten sign
Uh-oh.
taped on the inside of the stall door. And guess what it said?
Tell us.
It said, "Please throw the toilet paper in the trash."
Oh, whoa.
And there was a big...
No, I don't. Do I even
Yeah.
want to know?
I mean,
Horrific.
oh my God, yeah.
Horrific.
Throw the toilet paper, like not paper towels, toilet paper in the trash.
All
My God.
non-excrematory things
Right.
need to go in the trash.
Exactly.
So the plumbing, totally cool. Everything's fine here.
My heart goes out. You got to walk like through the deli to get to this bathroom. So it's like these guys are taking out the trash.
Oh,
Full.
my God.
I mean, like, it's not like one of those like little like baby like garbage cans like that you might have in your bathroom. You know what I mean? Like this is like a full, like 20-gallon, the round ones.
Uh-huh.
That you put out to the side of the street. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Full of toilet paper
Oh my God, ew.
My God.
from your butt.
That's a nightmare.
Don't flush. Yeah. I took a
Wow.
picture of it because I was, just
You took
fucking
a-
in awe. Yeah.
Because I was in awe.
Not of the can, but of
It's
the
his
sign.
phone background.
I was like, damn, dude. It's 2022.
It's tough out there.
But good people. Anyway, sorry. So that was my little bathroom story.
God damn. That's almost a disaster in itself.
Next week, we're going to be talking
Yeah,
about
honestly, fuck.
where I get my groceries and somehow feel safe, like buying
Yeah, you're
the
getting
produce,
Yeah,
Oh,
that's good deal. Okay.
which is actually what we're going to eat tonight for dinner. So
Mm-hmm.
enjoy that.
Oh, God.
Perfect. Sign me up. I'm here. I'm here for it.
Wow. So, back on topic. So these tanks, 42 tons of this MIC, this horrible poisonous chemical, and these guys are going to clean the pipes because, of course, the steam boiler,
These jokers.
it's not functional. Yeah. So they daisy chained a bunch of pipes, and I'm not going to get into the bizarre configuration that they had to clean these pipes because it's just going to be confusing as shit. But
You ever
it
play
was
Mousetrap? Something
I
like
mean,
that.
it was a Rube Goldberg of stupidity. I'll tell you that much. It was not good. Okay, so these guys. Well, it was. I believe it was just one guy, and he was cleaning the pipes. And of course, there was a stopper for the pipe that he was cleaning to stop the water. But of course, that also was removed.
What?
So all the water that he was pumping into that pipe to clean that pipe was going directly into that MIC tank, the E610. So
That sounds like the worst possible scenario.
I mean, pretty much, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I can't think of anything worse other than like maybe he was also like a Nazi or something.
He was also a sympathizer.
Yeah, he had bad politics as well.
As well.
make it even worse. So this guy, he was pumping tons of water in there, and of course,
poor guy.
those pipes were fucking dirty as hell. They were all corroded. All those contaminants were just leaking in there. All that iron and all that, ironized oxide or
All that stuff
oxidized.
ready to be reacted with.
Yeah,
pretty much.
just
Yeah.
fuel for the flames, baby.
A slurry.
Pretty much.
A slurry of foreboding, foreshadowing.
Yeah, so I guess the nice thing about the MIC reaction to water contaminants is it's actually not that quick. It's not going to be, instant. It's not like lighting a match.
Okay.
But it is an exothermic reaction. Okay, so it produces light and heat. Okay.
Excellent.
So and the problem is that MIC turns into a gas pretty quickly, and it's at a pretty low temperature, and this shit is going to skyrocket. So all this water's pumping in at 10:30 p.m. And they walk away. And I believe it's 11. They see, oh wait, what the hell? The PSI for the tank is 4 now. It's double what it usually is, which is 2. Yeah, which is also extremely bad. But hey, problem solving itself, dude.
I'm
Easy.
sure it's fine. I'm sure it's going to be okay.
They actually thought it was a gauge malfunction, which is...
And nothing else works. Why would this work correctly?
The one thing that actually worked correctly, they thought didn't work correctly, which is just a peak of genius. So this is...
God.
Yeah, this is not good. So by 11, I believe the PSI was at like 20. So it's raised like 500%. So something's happening. But guess what?
What?
It's tea time. gotta have my tea. So at 12:15 a.m., I believe, or 12:05
PM. Or wait.
a.m.
Oh, sorry.
How
So
is
it's
that tea
night.
time?
Gotta have tea time, and tea time is also 30 minutes, which is pretty sick.
Great.
So
Must be nice.
yeah. So they're like, you listen, we're gonna find the leak. Something weird's happening. So they go and try to find this leak, and the supervisors have tea, which is awesome.
Okay, good. The supervisor that's been there for 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. So
Okay, cool.
hopefully the tea was good. I guess it might have
I
been like
fucking hope so. Was it
camel,
worth it?
chamomile and maybe some honey or something.
Yeah.
Something nice at least. So yeah. So 12:45 or 12:40 rolls around, and guess what the PSI is at?
355. Still a lot.
So so not
Still
good.
too high.
Still high.
Not only that, so now they're desperately trying to find this leak. They're like, what the fuck is that? Something, it's the groundwater is leaking into this tank, or something horrible is happening here.
They're like finishing their tea.
Yeah,
but faster, so it's not as enjoyable. You know what I mean?
yeah, they're like, oh god,
Yeah.
it's a little hot. It's too hot.
Right. Yeah. They're just trying to finish it, just so they can free up the hand. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're like, oh,
So it's like kind of an inconvenience. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
it's a little
shit,
annoying.
man, we gotta find this leak.
Yeah,
You guys, you know what I mean? Okay, all right, hold on. Almost done.
I can't have that second cup. Some bullshit. Capitalism is
All right.
trash.
Oh, I feel like taking a nap after that tea. Wow. Oh, okay, this leak. All right.
Yep. So now it's
Leak time. Leak time.
time to leak.
It was tea time. Now it's leak time.
So we're on the schedule. So now it's 12:40. So now everybody's looking for them leaks, okay? And they find one. Okay, they find one leak. But it's not enough. So now...
It's like it doesn't explain
Pretty much.
the issue.
So all the MIC is basically gas now. So the pressure is insane, and the heat
Pressure's on.
is insane as well. So
Nice.
Too.
So one of the workers actually came in, and he saw the tank kind of break the concrete slab that was above it.
Oh my God.
Run.
And the emergency valve broke as well. So you're fucked when the emergency valve breaks.
Yeah, too
Surprised
late.
they even had one of those.
Yeah, listen.
They probably didn't know where it was. Like
They probably just thought it was a wacky red valve or something. This is the wacky one.
part of the feng shui.
Yeah. So I mean, this tank, all of the gas escaped out of the pipes. Okay, that was leading towards the tank, and so one of the what's up?
Was this back through the janky configuration of pipes?
Yeah,
Those pipes?
There were actually quite a few pipes leading to the MIC tank.
I'm sure there's leaks just
To fill the tank
everywhere.
and to take liquid out of the tank.
So the pressure is building, and now it's
and
just
to introduce
going.
nitrogen as well.
It's going anywhere.
Anywhere
that
it can.
Yeah, anywhere it can. So all pipes, in any way, shape, or form, connected to this tank, whether they're supposedly closed or open or for release or it's all the pressure is so high that it's just
Yeah. So and there's also
exploding through all pipes.
Yeah, there's also a relief pipe as well that leads to the flare tower, but of course the flare tower is inoperable. And
It looks good though.
it does look pretty sick, and it's not on fire as well, which kind of adds to the ambiance.
Looks pretty cool. It's
Yeah.
probably the highest point in Bhopal.
I don't think so.
It's like an attraction.
Bhopal is actually pretty big.
Oh,
I think it has a couple million people chilling in there, so
all right.
it's quite large. But yeah. So I mean, one of the ways to stop this chemical from escaping is actually using fire hoses. Well, kind of fire hosings. Except the water pressure was not high enough. Okay. So we're using garden hoses that didn't do anything.
So ideally a fire hose, I'm assuming shooting water out of it?
Shooting high enough so it would actually spray the vapor.
Right.
And I believe the vapor would kind of be trapped by the water, and it would fall down.
Yeah, fall down to the ground. Yep.
Yeah.
Except the water stream wasn't high enough, so it did absolutely nothing.
Yep, absolutely nothing. And that was also a cutback as well, I believe. So that's
So this chemical, once it's reacted and turned into a vapor, is no longer reactive to water, is what you're saying.
I mean, it's reacted enough to where it's a vapor, and I believe it's the amount of MIC that's in the air that because it's diluted by the nitrogen and the oxygen in the air. It's not as reactive.
Okay, that makes sense. Hence why it's in a tank, right?
Well, that, and it's also not pressurized under a tank. So I mean, it's just kind of floating in the air. So it's not really that big of a deal. I mean, it's gonna get hot, but it's not in a confined space where it's gonna build pressure and then explode like a bomb.
It's not gonna vaporize again.
Exactly. It's not gonna become even hotter and then
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So so all these fail safes were completely inoperable. So I mean, if an accident happened at this scale, this factory is fucked, which is exactly what happened.
Comedy of errors.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. So all this, I believe it was 30 tons of this chemical came out in within the first hour. Ugh. And it's just pouring over the city. And I believe there was a southeasterly wind, which is just blowing over all this town. It's awful. And I believe there's a town called Chula that is about 2 kilometers away, so it's actually very close. So that was the first town that was really hit by this chemical. So this chemical, MIC, when it's a gas, is actually quite a bit heavier than air. So it's going to float to the bottom. So anybody that's below 4 feet tall is going to get a big ass wave of this air, this poisonous air. Anybody sleeping as well.
Yep.
So plants, animals, anything that's going to be close to the ground is just going to get kids is just going to get a wave of this extremely toxic chemical. That's exactly what happened. So, no warning, only an internal warning for the factory, and that was only sounded at like 1 a.m. So it was already...
It's too late.
Yeah, well underway. Mm-hmm. And I believe the second alarm, the outside alarm, the external alarm to alarm Bhopal was like at 2 a.m. And it was already over.
It was way too late.
Yeah, way too late.
And I think they only kept it on for a little bit, and then they ended up shutting it off or something.
It was like half an hour.
Reason.
Yeah.
And ran out of battery.
I mean, everyone like died already, so they were like, okay, well.
Yeah.
Basically, anyone who would die is probably dead by now, or or in the stages of dying. So this toxic chemical is raining across the city of hundreds of thousands of people, because Bhopal is actually very big. It still is, actually, incidentally enough, but
somehow.
Yeah, thousands of people are getting affected by this. And by, like 5 a.m., thousands of people are dead already. And like tens of thousands of people are affected. And some of the effects, so it's actually, I don't know if have you guys ever been tear gassed before?
I've been maced a few times. But not tear gassed, yeah.
No.
So if anyone's been tear gassed before, any of our esteemed listeners would know what I'm talking about. Where you get this kind of super teary, like your tear ducts almost hurt. How much like tear production they're in, and it's you breathe in and it's almost like a sour taste. Ugh. And it like constricts your lungs.
Just like super noxious.
Yeah, tear gas is fucking horrible. But it's actually, the minor exposure to MIC is actually pretty similar to tear gas. So any worker that would notice that, I'm starting to tear up a little bit here, and my breathing is restricted. Oh, the MIC might be released. So these were these Bhopal people were experiencing, but they had no idea what the hell was going on. Their first experience of this MIC was opening their front door and getting a humongous whiff of this MIC. And MIC and heavy exposures are going to almost completely shut down your respiratory system. It's like getting hit with a sledgehammer in your lungs, basically. So I mean, almost instantly, you cannot breathe. And some of the worst parts is if you ran away from the gas while you're in the gas and you inhale deeply because you're running, you're really screwed. So anybody who had a car was way better off.
So not many.
Gas. Not many, yeah. So I mean, plus like what you don't know what the hell is going on. No alarm is going off. There's this weird white colorless cloud kind of rolling off.
I'm going back to sleep.
Yeah, it's like, what is this fog? What is going on here?
I'm going to get in my car and be like, roll the windows up.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And now all of a sudden your kid is lying on the floor and she's dead or something. It's awful. So police calls start rolling in to Chola, and they're like, what the fuck is going on here? And so the police station was like, asked the factory, hey, what's going on here? This is insane. Yeah, is there like a problem with the chemical plant, or what's going on here? And of course they're like, no, everything's okay.
Of course.
Yeah, like,
wow.
What the fuck is going on? I mean, it's like, it's like negligent. It's horrifically. It's not even negligent. It's like malicious at that point.
Yeah, you're straight up lying to people. And like, I was watching a documentary, and the head doctor in like the main hospital of one of these towns, they called him. He was like at home sleeping, and they were like, yeah, we don't know what this is. All these like thousands of people are coming to us. We literally have no idea what's going on. And he thought probably ammonia. That was like a common thing that could happen if you have like those big industrial plants. So they were using what they would have used for like a big ammonia, gas cloud or whatever, and none of it was working. They literally had no idea what was going on or how to treat it.
Wow.
Terrible.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't specify what chemical it was.
Nope.
Yeah, that part's important.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, what are these? And not only that, but a lot of the medical staff was pretty underqualified as well. I mean, how many people know how to deal with these big chemical disasters to this? It's
yeah, like we don't even know we don't even know what the fuck this shit is.
Yeah,
The people working there don't know what it is.
And they were actually using it with the acronym. They were calling it MIC. So they had no idea what the actual chemical was. They're like, what the fuck is MIC?
It's trademarked.
We've never heard of that before.
It's
yeah,
trademarked,
yeah.
buddy. So you better watch it.
You better not use that shit. So this horrible disaster. All these kids are getting affected and dying. At the end of it, I mean, I believe the Indian government only gave out a little less than 4,000 deaths, so they could only pay a small amount of people to them specifically, like give them aid. But I believe it was around, the actual numbers around 16,000 people who died, and then the amount of people affected, I believe, was like 700,000.
Jesus.
Yeah, and I believe that the people who were permanently disabled were like, God, what was it? I want to say it was, yeah, it was probably, like 250,000, I think I remember what it was. But, yeah, I mean, people who were blinded, and just severely disabled, like, bronchitis and things of that nature, just like
Can't work, can't feed their families anymore.
Yeah, it's like, what are you supposed to do with like chronic conjunctivitis and like all this like these horrible like permanently disfiguring
sensory depriving.
Yeah, and like kids were born with all of these like neurodevelopmental issues, and it's just perpetuating. Like it's not ending.
It's awful.
Yeah, kids are still being born with all kinds of defects and disabilities and stuff. It's crazy.
I believe like 3,000 pregnant women were like affected, and all the prenatal defects and like intellectual impairments and all this
ton of
horrible stuff.
Impairments,
all these like pulmonary edemas and just things I could never even like imagine. But the way this chemical like affects the body is horrific. It just like stores in your lungs and just kind of makes you drown in like your own fluids for your lungs.
Yeah, because it reacts with the water in your blood and like all of your tissues. Like we're all water. So it just reacts with the water, and then you just end up, people are like drowning in their own lungs essentially.
Yeah. It's awful.
Crazy.
It's insane. It's just one of the worst chemicals that you can be exposed to.
Yep.
I mean, really. I mean, this couldn't happen. I mean, how bad this chemical is. It's just awful.
Terrible.
Yeah. So, after all this happened, everyone was freaking out. Everyone wanted the UCC, which was the parent company of this disaster, they wanted them to pay. So, of course they would, because, it's kind of their fault.
America.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So, the CEO, his name was Warren Anderson. And he actually flew pretty quickly down to India with a team of investigators. And the second he got off that plane,
Really surprised he even did that, to be honest.
I was shocked too when I read that. I was I'm pretty impressed actually. But the second he landed, he got instantly arrested, of course, for manslaughter and criminal negligence and the stuff that he was guilty of. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Things he was responsible for.
Yeah, exactly. So this guy is arrested, and unfortunately, the Indian government let him go because I'm guessing the United States government
he
was
paid bail. They
that's right.
Yeah. So he was able to make bail, obviously.
Yeah, he made bail. He's
goddamn millionaire or whatever.
Yeah.
His name is Warren.
Yeah. And the previous
dude.
CEO was also named Warren, so there's a bit of a conspiracy there.
Ew, gross.
Yeah. A lot of Warrens going
Fucking
around.
Warren.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So he made bail, and he instantly left the country. He's like, "Fuck this! I don't want to get
See
arrested."
ya. Later, losers.
Yeah, and the Indian government was like, "Hey, you need to extradite this guy because he's wanted for
Murdering.
bit of a snafu over here in Bhopal here." So
You probably didn't hear about it.
yeah, you didn't. I mean, but we'll send you a postcard. So of course, the United States is like, "Fuck that! We're not gonna extradite this guy because of lack of evidence," which is interesting. Yeah.
Which, okay.
Yeah, it's like, okay, whatever.
Okay.
Um, Yeah, so, and of course, their story was corporate sabotage.
What do you mean by
So, UCC,
Okay, please explain.
so they actually had two ways of dodging this. A, it wasn't their specific company, it was their subsidiary, which they weren't technically completely in charge of because the Indian government actually owned like 49.1% of that plant. So whatever. And the and the other thing was, and actually an independent investigator came over to Bhopal and investigated that plant. And while they did find the root cause of it, they actually didn't find what actually technically happened because the plant was in such disrepair. So they couldn't tell if it was intentional that the water was poured into that tank or it wasn't. So unfortunately, the UCC kind of had an out and something that they can kind of hide behind. So when the Indian government was like, hey, you need to pay us $3.3 billion for all the damage you caused, all the thousands of people you killed, they're like, well, nah, I'm good. Thanks, though. So, unfortunately, the UCC only had to pay $470 million, which is nothing. Honestly. Unbelievable.
Like, seriously,
Yeah.
what the fuck? How many dollars per person was that, Anthony?
I think it was only a couple thousand. It was nothing.
No, it was less than that.
Nothing.
It was like
Yeah.
600
Was it
a
under?
person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
600.
$600 a person.
Yeah,
I said
nothing.
600 too.
Imagine like
Disgusting.
a bunch of your family members dying, and then some asshole in another country giving you a couple $100.
Here you go.
Start blowing shit up.
Honestly,
On purpose this time.
Yeah, seriously. Jesus.
Sorry.
So, I mean, these people were pissed, understandably.
Mm-hmm.
But the Indian government wasn't super not corrupt. Okay, like all governments, I guess.
They weren't not corrupt.
Yeah. So they obviously had a stake in the UCIL. So they wanted to hold Anderson accountable, but the Indian people wanted to hold the some of the senior staff members of the factory accountable.
I feel like that's probably fair.
Yeah, I mean there was
At least a little.
Yeah, they did like investigation of like the books and everything was completely forged, and it was just a nightmare. So they actually arrested 8 people. They charged them with criminal negligence, I believe it was. Charged them $2,000, fined them $2,000, and threw them in jail for 2 years.
At least they did that.
Yeah, and that was it. So, $470 million and 2 years between all 8 people and $2,000, which was the max fine for the Indian government at that time. So there wasn't really anything else they could do. But I mean, killing a couple thousand people is probably bad usually.
Gross.
Yeah. So
they couldn't get the guy, so they just kind of
they could not.
got as many as they could.
Nope. So Warren Anderson actually stayed in the United States.
Duh.
And he lived until 2014, and he died at the age of 92 in Vero, Florida.
Had a long, happy life.
Yeah, long and nice life.
Rich life. Fucking asshole.
Yeah, which is a lot more than I can say for people.
I heard some clips of like his wife, some audio clips. They're like, "Leave Warren alone.
Yeah,
He's
it's like-
gone through enough." It was so fucking pathetic.
Ew.
Like, it was so gross.
Are you sure?
We've been through so much already.
What?
Are you fucking kidding me right now?
People are
Like,
unbelievable.
You're disgusting.
Yeah, like they could hang you in the public square and it wouldn't be enough, lady.
Exactly. He's been through enough. This has been so hard.
Yeah. And Dow Chemical still hides behind that bullshit story.
Of course
them.
they do.
Which Dow Chemical
Yeah.
bought UCC, by the way, if anyone's wondering.
Interesting.
But yeah, they still hide behind that story. They still have their website page dedicated to Bhopal, and they're like, "Oh yeah, some a-hole
We're sorry.
sabotaged it, so it's not our fault, definitely."
No shit.
Yep,
It was an
so-
inside job.
That's bizarre.
So yeah, so it's very weird.
That's very,
Yeah,
very crazy.
and unfortunately, after the fact, the cleanup. I'm doing it in air quotes. You can't see me do cleanup in air quotes,
Air bunnies.
but I'm doing it right now.
yeah.
You might be able to hear the wind.
Confirmed.
Hear the
my,
wind.
with my fingers. There it is. But there was no cleanup. Basically, they tried to do some things where Germany would take the toxic topsoil and burn it, but that would cost a couple $1 million, and
Can't have that.
they were trying to get UCC to pay for it, and they were like, no. So that did not happen.
They just said no.
Yeah,
I'm okay.
I mean, yeah, pretty much. They're like,
I'm good. It's
we're not liable.
What?
Talk
Yeah.
to UCIL, and of course UCIL doesn't even exist anymore. So
Probably for the best, because the way that things are going, they'd probably just like burn it like right downtown.
well, it was Germany. They were going to send the topsoil to Germany. So they're going.
Oh, they're gonna. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Got
no
it.
way. And what does fucking Germany have to do with it?
I think they had a waste disposal.
You owe us.
Company. Yeah, that's right. You remember a guy named Adolf Hitler?
Nah.
Take our topsoil, bitch. Burn it.
9.
But yeah, so I mean, it's Bhopal is still extremely toxic, and funnily enough, they've actually won India's cleanest city for like three times in a row.
Mouth, dude.
I
There's
swear to
Sorry,
God.
what?
Yeah.
How?
I'm not trolling here. I have no idea why. I think it's just because Bhopal is like a pretty big tourist destination. And they're just like ignore the toxic
another
waste
thing I
dump.
can't believe.
Yeah.
Don't they have to get their
What the fuck?
drinking water like imported and stuff?
Yeah, so the water there is
Totally
like 500 times the limit of toxicity recommended. So if
But
someone
also
hands you a
number
glass
one.
of water,
Number one, clean.
don't drink it.
Don't drink the water.
Yep. So he thought Montezuma's revenge was bad. Wait till you hear Warren Anderson's revenge,
Fuck that
where you
guy.
just die, basically.
Where you drown in your lungs.
Yeah, you dry on your own fucking fluids. It's not good.
Fucking,
So, and that's basically the story of Bhopal, pretty much. UCC is still basically a company under Dow Chemical. UCIL is, I believe it was bought by Eveready. So it's still kind of a company. Warren Anderson is dead.
Bye.
Fortunately, I hope he's getting raped by the devil right now. And people in Bhopal are still struggling. So if you do want to donate, we actually have a website you can donate to. There's a lot of relief funds, but
Yeah, dude. Absolutely. Yeah, like that kind of goes to your point of like how this is like still the current
still
event.
going on. Yep.
Yeah, like this is not an exclusion zone. Like people still live there. Like
Yep.
it's their home. Like
There's like 2 million people live in that area.
Yeah, like no cleanup, no safety measures, like really to speak of. Like these people
Yeah.
are here still, trying to live their lives, and not a whole lot has like changed. Like, at least in India, I don't know who the fucking who writes that article, but
Yeah, insane people, I guess.
go to bhopal.org to get a little more info. There's a lot of things that you can do to support this community. Donating, of course. I mean, yeah, there's all kinds of cool shit that you can get involved with. Yoga for Bhopal.
Nice.
Yeah, dude, all kinds of cool shit. They still need help. Not a lot is being done, or probably ever has.
Yeah.
Which kind of brings me to another point. Like, I had never heard of this.
I hadn't either.
Yep.
Literally.
Yeah. We
Nope.
not even like a mention in passing. Like, we're all like pretty, pretty into like the horrors of life, like the morbid curiosity shit that you guys probably like too.
Mm-hmm.
Love that stuff. Thought that we had seen it all. Never heard about this.
No.
Never.
So that kind of tells you something.
Yeah. That it's like these people are poor and they're not white. And so why should we care? I don't know. Right?
You can still visit that factory, by the way. The factory is still standing.
Wild.
It's not operational, but it's still there.
It's there. Yeah.
And I believe
Wow.
the tank.
Just corroding away.
Yeah, the tank, the E610, is still there as well. I mean, it's outside of the ground, and I think it's just chilling in the open air.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think anyone's going to touch it because it's incredibly toxic. But it's still chilling there.
Mm-hmm.
So if you ever go to Bhopal, you can
But
take
next time you're
pictures.
in Bhopal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Support.
Check it out.
Yeah, support the local businesses, I guess.
Yeah.
When I was like doing some research, like this was in the 80s, so like obviously before.
When you were doing research.
Yeah, you were doing research in the 80s.
Back in the 80s when I was over
All right, cool.
in Bhopal.
When you were
Doing
negative
research.
5 years old.
Sure.
All right, great.
What were you doing on the night of December 2nd, 1984?
I'll pull Warren here. No comments.
Yeah, there you go.
Pull a Warren.
I don't recall pulling Epstein. I don't recall that. I'm sorry.
That's good.
Anyway, when I was doing research for this topic, I didn't see a lot of footage of victims. Like, there's some, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it really made me think of when the Russians would drop like chlorine bombs in the Middle East. Shout out Russia, you fucking idiot. Not Russians, but just, the one guy.
Yeah.
It's not
one
your fault,
guy.
Russia.
Yeah.
It's just the one guy.
Yep.
So no offense, Russians, but
Yeah.
that one asshole. Anyway, Russians do this thing, or rather, the military does this thing in Afghanistan and like other parts of the Middle East, like where they just have helicopters and they just like take these like tanks. Like, it looks like a tank like you'd fill up a balloon with at fucking Party City, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like a helium tank?
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
Okay.
like
Gross.
it's pretty
Hate it.
big and it's like bright yellow.
Yeah.
And they would just take these motherfuckers on helicopters and just like fly through downtown areas and just let them loose. And they would like crash through a building and then like puncture on something, right?
Gross.
And then chlorine gas, like, which is also heavier than air, so it
Mhm.
sinks and just like sinks like through these whole like multifamily buildings.
Oh
Holy
my
shit.
God.
Yeah, like just killing everyone. And like it's the New York Times like does like these visual investigations.
Mm-hmm.
They're super cool. Check that out on YouTube, I think. And they like try and like piece together like everything that happened, like, because of course Russia was like, oh yeah, like we don't do that stuff, like chemical warfare, like that goes against like the
Geneva Convention.
Right?
Yeah, war crimes bad.
We would never do that. But like, yeah, dude, like they would just drop these tanks of chlorine gas on people, and the bodies and like the state that they were in like looked like pretty, what I would think that people went through with that chemical, right?
Yeah. It's,
Yeah, like foaming at the mouth
Yep,
and just like
exactly.
It's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
It's
nuts.
terrible. And like, we didn't talk about it, but like all of the animals.
Yep.
Yeah, and the plant life too. Trees would die, and
Yep. Everything just yellowed
Yeah.
and shriveled up
Yeah.
and died.
It's so strange.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's like walking into a fucking nightmare. I'm sure in
Yeah.
that city
Yeah.
after that.
Literally.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's still a nightmare, but it's kind of a covered up nightmare. So,
In your research, did you read about like Operation Freedom, where they had to, or was it Freedom? No, it wasn't Freedom. It was
Freedom.
Faith.
Freedom ain't free.
I don't know. I get those
Operation
mixed
Faith?
up because they both don't exist. But maybe it was Faith, like Operation Faith or something, where they had to reactivate the plant because they had to neutralize
yeah,
the
they
rest of
they
that.
had to pump out all the other so the other two tanks
MIC.
were full.
Yep.
Yeah, they had
Wow.
like
What?
42 tons each
Yep.
of this MIC, and they had to turn the other two tanks. They had to turn the whole factory on.
They had to turn the plant back on. Yeah.
And then everyone
Holy shit.
evacuated.
Operation Faith.
It was
for
Faith,
sure.
not
Yeah, it
Freedom.
was Faith.
That's- it
definitely
was
Faith. I remember
Definitely
that.
not fucking
Yeah.
Freedom.
Like cross your fucking fingers, motherfuckers.
Yeah, because they didn't even know what was wrong yet.
Yeah,
so
they had no
didn't
idea.
know if it was going to happen again. And they were like, well,
I hope this doesn't happen again.
here we go. Flip the switch.
Talk about rolling those dice.
Yeah, thankfully it didn't happen again. Oh God, you imagine?
Yeah, I can't believe they did
Almost,
that.
yeah, almost 3 times as much
Yeah.
chemical in those 2 tanks than the first
Gotta
one.
have faith. Faith.
I'm sure that's what they had in mind when they made that song. Yeah, so that's the Bhopal the disaster there. So
Yeah,
it's
that's
not good.
big old disaster.
Yeah, not good memes. So
No.
yep. So if you enjoyed this podcast,
Which we know that you did.
yeah, you know,
I mean,
if you
come
made
on.
it this far, you enjoyed it. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
okay.
stop lying to yourself.
Yeah, was there a gun to your head?
Yeah.
Well, we don't know that.
But we're gonna do this. How often are we gonna do this, Edith?
We're gonna try for once a week. I
Once a
think.
week, yeah. So I believe our next topic is going to be Richard Peck. Speck. There you go.
Richard Peck, which you might not have heard about either.
Yeah, he's another bad guy. So look out for him.
He's a real bad guy.
Richard Speck. So it's gonna be kind of. I mean, this is obviously our first episode, so we're kind of just having to feeling out of the tone of the podcast and see where kind of we want to lie here. So we're thinking about doing just kind of a rotating thing between Tom, Mark, and Edith, and see kind of where.
See what happens.
Yeah.
how
So
it goes.
I hope you enjoyed, and have a good one, guys.
Yeah. Thanks, fools.
Yep, absolutely.
Bye.
Bye.